All right, here we go. Recording. It's MLO Net Success Series with Ashley. I was trying to do Facebook Live, but of course our connection's not working right, as sometimes happens. So today we're going to give this to you guys recorded. Thanks for joining us, Ashley. We appreciate you spending some time. Tell everybody real quick where you're from.
I'm from South Louisiana, right outside of Lafayette, Louisiana.
Lafayette, Louisiana. What's the market like down there?
We have a really stable market. Of course, our market is, or our entire city is tied to the oil field. So it has had some ups and downs. So we have a lot of inventory right now. So it's most definitely a buyer's market. They definitely have some options out there, but it's, we always have a strong economy around here. So we don't really see a whole lot of, ebb and flow and up and down in it. Yeah.
So wait, a buyer's market? I think I need to send all my people down there. I mean, that's
yes.
common.
We're probably like one of the only parts of the country, it seems, that has that, but we have an excess amount of inventory around here. So that's definitely not an issue for us. So just before we got on the call, we were mentioning or talking a little bit about where you were at maybe 7, 8, 9 months ago. Where were you at in your career back then, and where have you been at the last couple months? Because I think that's going to kind of tie into why we brought you on the call today. Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the business probably close to 15 years. I've done exclusively mortgages for the last 10. And of course, as you go through your career, it's really easy to get stagnant and do kind of the same things. And eventually, if you don't change it up and keep it up, your business just falls flat. And that's a lot of what I was feeling towards the end of last year. So I didn't really know how to jumpstart and move things in a different direction. The path I was traveling was kind of done. I had a solid referral base, and it kept things steady. But as far as growing, I had really exhausted all of that. So I had to really change things up. And so at the beginning of the year, new year, new me kind of thing, I was trying to figure out how do I change my path? How do I move on? How do I grow beyond where I was? And that's really when I had to start researching and trying to figure out what I was going to do and how I was going to move on from there.
So you had some solid referral-based relationships, but they were either asking for more or they just weren't giving you enough to get you to the numbers that you needed to get to, something like that, right?
Right. I've always worked with great referral partners that never asked for anything. They asked for a good job and I delivered that. And so, like I said, I got really complacent. I didn't have to invest a lot into those relationships, and it was just kind of solid business that kept rolling. But I made some changes in my business structure that I have here in the office, and it allowed me some free time to move beyond what I had. And that was at the point where, okay, so I have this extra time and I want to use it to grow my business. And so that's when I started looking for ways to grow my business with different referral partners.
So where are you at right now? Before we dive into how you did all that, what's different today than what was different last fall?
So now, and of course, we're in the peak of busy season and whatnot, but my business has, at least my referral business and what's coming through the door is probably doubled, and moving beyond that. So I have a whole nother stream of business that's coming through my door that I did not have last year.
So it's purchase-based, realtor referral-based type of business?
Correct. I've always been a purchase lender, but I've always been a second chance lender. When your lender can't get your loan closed, call me. And a lot of my business came from other lenders. In fact, probably 50% of my business comes from other lenders. And I've always been really respectful of my referral partners. I don't go after their agents. I don't bring them down. I take the package, I restructure it, I fix it, and I get them to the closing table within 10, 12 days. And that was great. The problem with that is that when you've just been declined right before your contract ends, everybody's in kind of a panic. The agents, the clients, the other lender, everything. And so I still get a lot of that business, But like I said, I don't want to be a second chance lender. I want to be the go-to. If I'm the one who can get you there at the very last minute, I don't want all that stress. I want it at the very beginning. And so that's when I started changing my way. Instead of targeting lenders, I wanted to target realtors to be their first call and not their last call.
Have you heard what I jokingly call that sometimes? I mean, it's kind of rude, but I call that being the outhouse lender instead of the in-house lender.
Correct.
You're getting all the crap that's falling apart. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of LOs that have built solid careers off of it, but you just walk through the challenges and you know, what is the value proposition to maybe get the first at bat instead of having to come in when it's, hey, it's the last inning of the game and the bases are loaded and we're down by 4 runs. I mean, you got to hit a home run every single time to win, you know, to even tie the game. So ultimately, you knew that you needed a plan that would bring you to the forefront, get you in front of the clients a little quicker. And so before we go into that plan, last thought, how many referrals are you getting roughly a month right now? If you had to throw it out there, I mean, how many a week, I guess, is probably better.
So I probably get, and let's just focus on like the first at bat, like you said, I probably get 20 to 25 solid leads, like solid apps every week from the new agents that I've acquired.
So you're pulling 80 credit reports a month right now? 70 credit reports?
And that's just from my new realtor partners. Okay. That's not, because I haven't given up my other business, because I'm going to take everything that I can get. So that's just probably from my new realtor partners. Nice.
So obviously those aren't all going to qualify, but ideally that's turning into roughly how many units?
Probably we're sitting right about 12 to 14 for the next 60 days. I got about 12 to 14 for August and September is what we're looking at.
Solid. Cool. Correct. TJ, what did I miss on the over a high level? Because I know we're going to break it down a little bit more here, but what kind of details do we miss on that, buddy?
I don't think we missed many. I'm just sitting here saying, holy crap, did I hear 80 credit reports? Was that the number that I heard right there? Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
I don't want to pay that credit report.
I know. God, pull one bureau at a time, okay? One bureau at a time. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. But now I think let's just go ahead and get right into it, right? So you went from, what did you call it, Fish? The outhouse lender, right? To obviously moving yourself to a position where you're a preferred lender to many of these people at this point to have that much production put in place. So talk to us. What did you do? I mean, what caused you to make that decision? Was there an event that you said, this is it, I've got to go from being this person to this person? And once you made that decision, what were the steps that you took to go ahead and get yourself in the position where you are today?
Right. So back in February, I had a manager summit where the managers of the company and some really high producing LOs came, and we all went to Vegas, and we had like a 3-day summit. And down there was Andrew Cady, and we used to work together. He was in a different branch. He's in Florida, and he's been in the business like 2 or 3 years, and his energy and what he has been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time, like, lit a fire under me that I have not had in a really long time. Like I said, I was very complacent over the last 10 years. And so watching him and talk about how he's grown his business so quickly told me that I could absolutely change things around in a pretty short amount of time. So when we got back, I kind of marinated on that a little bit, and I sent him a message, and I said, hey, can I get 10 minutes of your time? And he was really gracious. He came on, he gave me probably 30 or 45 minutes of his time, and he kind of laid out the steps that he did to really build his career in a short period of time. And if you know anything about him, like, he's rocking it down there in Florida. And I knew at that point, like, one of like the key things that he had kind of said was, and I don't know like the exact phrase he said, but you want to like constantly elevate yourself to reach for the next goal, surround yourself with like bigger and better than you, which was always kind of something everyone strives to be, or at least I've always strived to be. Like, I'm not trying to be the shining star in around people who are not as elevated as me. I want to be in the background watching really successful people make it happen. So at that point, I realized, like, okay, I need to find people who have goals and aspirations, and they're continuously growing to better themselves. So at that point, I really started digging into figuring out, like, who's out there all over the country making it work, and trying to be a better version of themselves tomorrow than they were yesterday. And that really resonated with me. Like, that's what I'm about. I want to be a better version tomorrow than I was yesterday. And that's the goal every day. Sometimes I hit it and sometimes I don't. But that's always the goal. So that's when I started, like, researching and looking and, like, finding people out there who are making it happen, and just kind of started taking it all in. And then at some point, somehow, some way, I came across you guys, and all of the value that is being brought to MLO Net and the open forum that you guys are putting out there. I totally love it. Like, I was all in. I probably spent a good portion of my day in February and March. Instead of focusing on my loans, I was focusing on, like, what are people out there doing that are making themselves successful? What are they doing every day to make it happen? And I kind of just started, like, picking out pieces along the way. Then I found, the Leads Academy. And, so, like, back in like February and March, I was like, okay, let me see what they're doing. And I always invested.
I thought she was going to say she figured out what CRM to use.
I don't to this day, it's a goal by the end of the year for me to have, like, a fully functional CRM, because in 10 years, I've never once had a CRM. I've never once reached out to my database. I didn't even have a database. Like, if they want me, they'll find me. And a good portion of my business is repeat clients or referrals from my past clients. So I was like, I don't need that. They come and find me, and they do. Now, of course, as I'm getting wiser in this, I probably, if I had a CRM 10 years ago, would be blowing and going even more than where I am now. But you live and learn. So, like I said, I came across Leads. I was trying to figure out. So I was still touching base with, like, all of the realtors I did business with last year. Everybody that I did business with that was at the table, either a buyer or a seller's agent, trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I reach them? How do I connect with them? And so I started just doing, like, the things that everyone does. And when I asked them, who's your preferred lender? They would give me a name. And why do you work with them? Almost every one of them, probably 9 out of 10, said because they pay for my Zillow, they pay for my advertising, they pay for something, or, match. I'm sure everyone's doing it compliant. But they all pushed that. I do business with them because they buy my business. So I was like, okay, let me look into this. So, like, I pulled Zillow, I try to figure out how much it is, and I'm thinking I have a goal of working with 50 agents. $500 times 50 agents, like, that's an obscene amount of money. I ain't doing it. I am not doing it. I am not buying their business through Zillow for all kinds of reasons. So I was like, okay, well, what else? So when, like, TJ I came across him trying to figure out what he was doing, and I was like, I'll buy in. I'll see what it's about. And it's become, for me, much more than just leads. He's helped me build systems to generate leads that are exclusive for me and exclusive for the partners, my realtor partners that come in with me. And that makes it work. But it's not just about the leads, because we both know that, like converting leads is a really tough thing. And it's a small percentage. I mean, I think Zillow, like, they advertise like a 3% conversion. I mean, it's tiny. Mm-hmm. So when you're trying to use the leads to generate all of your business exclusively through those leads, you're probably not going to get very far. But I took them to build an entire system with everybody that works with me. A full encompassing from, like, lead gen to branding to relationship building to how to attract more and better clients for my realtors, because then they will turn around and take care of me, and they have. As I push into their business with whatever they're struggling with, they're becoming more successful. I am their preferred lender, so they're sending referrals. So it's like a full circle system.
That's awesome. I think what you have grasped onto, and it's very difficult, us as salespeople, right? Especially those of us, such as myself, who came from the direct mail, direct marketing, refi world. We are so accustomed to that phone ringing. We're like, hey, this is TJ. No, you got 3.5. Nope, sorry. Hey,
Right.
This is TJ. Oh, you got 4.5? Okay. We're so accustomed to that piece of it that when we do some type of direct marketing, like lead generation, that's what we want.
Right.
Yesterday there was a post in MLO Net. Fish tagged me on the guy said, hey, is there anything other than Zillow to help my real estate agents? Right. So we posted some of the results that we got from the tier 1 or the ZK ads, whatever we're calling them this week. But one of the things that we always talk about is with those very inexpensive leads, $2 to $5 leads, right? Our goal is to generate 3 to 6 additional transactions per year for that agent. Now, I notice I use the term transaction, right? Mm-hmm. Fish, what's a transaction?
A transaction is ideally something you end up getting paid on. I would hope
something that agent can get paid on. A rental, right? A listing. Recently, I've been working with Home Partners of America. If you guys don't know who they are, it's a big rent-to-own national company. So they do all kinds of, everybody wants a rent-to-own. You got to have like a 550 credit score and $50,000 in income and not have any felonies. That's huge. But it's about leveraging these leads, inexpensive leads at a fraction of the cost of Zillow, to provide, to fill in the valleys, so to speak. We have peaks and valleys in our business, right? To help these real estate agents fill in the valleys. But more importantly, what are you doing? Actually, it's what you're doing. You're becoming their preferred lender. You're building the relationship with them. You have a reason to give them a call, right? You're prospecting on Facebook. I've seen you do it. Fish, I've seen you do it. Obviously, we know I do it. Like every other post is about, how many leads we generated and the cost of that, because it's about using those to attract people, bring them in to start the conversation. I actually did it perfectly. Why is this person your preferred lender? They pay for my Zillow. Great. What if I could do the same thing for you at a fraction of the cost to get you leads that convert at the same amount, but instead of you spending $500 a month, you're spending $50 per month.
Correct.
I think you nailed it, TJ.
That's an easy conversation to have, right?
They converted the same amount, though. So many folks are trying to spend all their time and energy figuring out how to convert them at a higher percentage. And that's such a challenge. I mean, even the best lenders in the country can't seem to figure that out.
Right.
But if we find a way to create value, like TJ said, when they have valleys, we build a deeper relationship. We can start asking them questions about how their business is going. And oftentimes we find a way to supplement or train them or teach them how to fill some of those gaps with other methods, with traditional networking or just the simple things like, asking for referrals throughout the process or Mr. Agent, have you ever posted a video on a listing on Facebook, or do you ever contact your past clients? I mean, a lot of times we find a lot of challenges and holes in the agent's business plan where they're not getting referrals, the hot referrals that convert at 50 to 80%. So we use the leads to build a relationship. What do we always say, TJ? And sometimes I think this gets interpreted, but
yeah, people hate it when we say this, but
you do.
But it's true. We say we stop focusing on the amount of leads that close and we focus on how many doors they open, right? And that's something, we learned, a year ago, right? I think it was our buddy Chad Priya who told us.
But TJ, what's your ROI? That's all that matters. That's all that matters in this world. It's the ROI. Harvard Business told me ROI is all that matters.
The thing is, you do get an ROI, right? Actually, what's your ROI going to be over the next 60 days based off of the relationships that you have on, a couple $100 in ad spend over the last 3 or 4 months, right?
Right.
I mean, that's going to be a hell of an ROI that you have, 12 to 15 purchases in play off of a couple $100 in ad spend. Right there. So it's very important that I think Greg Tanner responded to a post today. It's like, the the maturation process of a lead is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to take those leads, and this is something we talk about in Leads Academy all the time, Fish, is you got to take those leads. If you're getting them today, it may be 6, 9, 18, 24, 36 months before that lead actually turns into a closed transaction. You've got to get a transaction out of it today. So you've got to get out there. You've got to message your agents. You've got to get in touch with new agents. You've got to get them on board and buying into you. You've got to get them buying into Team Ashley to go ahead and have the opportunity to ask them for their next 2 referrals to kind of prove who you are. Have that opportunity to post on Facebook and say, hey, Joe Smith agent, new hot lead coming over to you, already been contacted. He's looking for a house in, Anne Arundel County for $300,000. Go get him. Let me know how it goes. And those are all ways to build your brand and to leverage these $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 leads, especially if you're splitting the cost with them, into better, stronger relationships. So, sorry, tangent time. So, I apologize. Soapbox, want to mute myself. You guys talk.
I'm the king of tangents, so I appreciate what you did there. But okay, so Ashley, let's talk about nuts and bolts. What did you actually? I know you talked about building systems, but what did you do? I guess just maybe simply like step 1, step 2, step 3. So somebody who doesn't know anything about how you did it, maybe just break it down into 2, 3, or 4 steps.
Okay, so I didn't even have that many steps. I literally joined TJ's group. And I didn't know anything about technology. Like, you could look on my Facebook from last year. I think I had 10 posts all year about anything, because I don't really post on Facebook. Nobody wants to see what I'm doing, what I'm wearing, what I'm eating for lunch. So I never put anything on Facebook. And I learned you have to be intentional and specific with your brand, whatever your brand is going to be, out on Facebook. So at first I started just building my brand and building who I was to get the word out there to clients and realtors about what I was all about. And then, like I said, I'm told technology is not my thing. And I read somewhere technology is going to kill us as LOs. If you are not on board, if you are not putting technology into your business, you're not going to have a job in 10 years. So I was like, okay, I've got to figure out a way that technology is going to be able to help me with my business and not run from it. So I'm still trying to figure out the technology. It took me 4 solid months before I ever ran a real lead ad, because I didn't know how to connect the systems. So TJ kind of broke.
And we're pretty sure that you broke Active Campaign.
And I totally broke Active Campaign.
The entire company is what's going on here? So.
I clicked on something, and in seconds, I went from 87 contacts to 800 contacts. My phone fell off my desk because it was dinging so much with emails. And I called TJ Friday at 6. I'm look, I totally broke Active Campaign. And I don't know how to stop it, because it was just it was emailing and adding these contacts. And I was and I'm not stealing everyone's contacts.
The best thing is Active Campaign didn't know they're we have no idea what happened here.
Right. So, we started moving into a different CRM and putting all these things in. And now, because I broke Active Campaign, I thought I should probably figure it out. So the new CRM that's out there, all the automation that's in there, I've been plugging, we've been on the system live for a week and a half. All my automation is in there. Everything's recorded, everything's good, everything's built. Today, when I get done with this call, I'll start connecting all of the pieces so I can start feeding leads in there. And so, there's a handful of softwares out there to connect and make some automation happen. So I did that. And once I started running the leads, and I realized how many were coming in, I didn't have enough automation for as many leads as I had. So I had to restructure my business even more than what I did at the beginning of the year. So I put an LOA on my staff who's a licensed loan originator, and she babies my paperwork and kind of takes care of that. And then I have someone that kind of helps me with tracking my leads and keeping them flowing and make sure they're in the right queue at all times to make sure that I'm getting them out to the agents timely, because we all know speed to call is what works. You've got to be on the phone with that client right away. And then I was able to spend, so that freed up a lot of my stuff. And then in the morning, I spend time on like sales generating activity, calling leads, touching base with agents, working the systems, building automation, excuse me, running new ads. Like I spend the first half of my day before lunch all about marketing and connecting with people. And then, have my own branch to run over here and my own staff and my own loans. So after lunch, I work on getting the loans through the pipeline, taking care of things, answering emails, connecting with people. So I had to kind of like set up a system throughout my day to make sure that nothing was getting lost. Because I am absolutely not going to go out and sell a system and sell a promise that I can't deliver on.
It's awesome. First off, I love the fact that what you just said there is about spending half your day with sales activities, right? That has been my personal challenge lately is sales activities. I said, our boss, Tim Pasquarello, mine and Fisher's boss, Tim Pasquarello, challenged me to that over the last couple of weeks. And I'm back to tracking what I'm doing every single day to making sure I'm not spending too much time playing on Facebook and getting in the Leads Academy and testing out new lead campaigns, but actually doing the sales activities. But I think the fact that you're calling your leads, right? You're not just letting them come in and just letting the robots do the work for you. Fisher, it may have been you used to say, like, the automation is there to save us from ourselves, right? Because, we tend to be lazy. Automation is there to help us follow up on the stuff that we may miss, but it's not there to replace our follow-up. Or it's what you said, technology will be obsolete because technology will eliminate us. Eventually, if we're not doing these things. I think one of the things that with this segment of Leads Academy, which is, again, you can find our stuff out there. It's running lead ads or messenger bot ads or something very inexpensive. It fits in so well. Fish always gets mad at me when I talk about this, but it fits in so well with the strategies that you get from like the Core or you get from Zenix, which are traditional sales, training, roll up your sleeves, do the hard work type of thing. Right. And it's what you said multiple times here. You're calling up about a system. You have a reason to call. How much easier is it to call an agent and have that conversation of, hey, agents that work with our team close an additional 3 to 6 transactions per year. Would you like to have a conversation? Can we have 10 minutes to have a conversation?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't have to call agents. I get 10 to 15 calls a week of agents asking like, hey, can I take you to lunch? Can I have 30 minutes of your time? Can we have coffee? Right. And again, I only spend 4 hours a day on that. So I'm booked for weeks.
So in 6 months,
an appointment with me, that's great, but it's going to be in 4 weeks from now.
That's awesome.
So, like, I hosted 2 classes in August. I had one last week, and then I have one next Thursday that says, like, okay, if you guys want some of my time, that's great. I'll give you time. I'll give you an hour and a half, but y'all have to come together as a group. So I have, I had like 12 people come last week, and of course with school going in, so I have like 20 or 22 that are coming next week. So I don't have to have a one-on-one conversation with them. I don't have to call them. They've RSVP'd to my class. They'll come. I'll talk about the system, what I can do for them, what I can't do for them. And if they want to be a part of the team, if they're interested in growing their business through this year into next year, come on board, come work with me, let me help you, and let's all be successful and rise to the next level. So I still do some one-on-one things because not everyone can come to the class, but it's limited because I just frankly don't have the time to do my job and take meetings with realtors at this point.
I just love the fact that in 6 months you have built this brand, that you have created this, this persona around yourself where you're getting so many people reaching out to you that want to do business with you and give you their business, right, that you have to say, absolutely, here's my calendar. I'll see you in October.
Correct. Yep. And I was standing in my own way. I didn't think that was possible. Like, I did not think that was possible. When I heard people say that, I thought they were full of shit. I was like, that does not happen in our business. Realtors do not call you. That, like, we are constantly chasing them. I thought that they were crazy or full of it or lying or something. But now that I'm getting those phone calls, I'm like, oh, that does happen. And I haven't invested a ton of money. I have invested a ton of time. I stay up hours and hours after my kids going to bed trying to figure out the next steps, what I'm going to do tomorrow to be that much better. What am I going to do? How am I going to put in automation? How am I going to put in more value to my partners tomorrow? And that, I mean, it's making me a better person. It's making me a better loan officer. And it's definitely making me step up my game every single day. So it can happen in a short amount of time, but that doesn't mean it takes like just a little bit of effort.
Yep, that's awesome. So, I mean, Fish, imperfect action, right? Again, second time we've mentioned Chad Prio today. Imperfect action, that's what made Chad so good. That's what made you so good. You know, our first conversations, we were like, you know, I mean, we're just still getting to know each other. And next thing I know, you're like, you know, I'm sitting here calling you up and be like, hey, so how did you do that? And how did you get like that many agents to call, you know, like type of thing. It's awesome. It's awesome to see. And you're only touching, you know, promotion time, you know, you're only really hitting one piece of what we do in Leads Academy, right? Like you're just hitting that one basic piece right there. And you've managed to build, I shouldn't say that. You managed to take that and run with it and really expand and build upon it and build your business.
Correct. I mean, like you have all these different like things that can work for an LO. There's like all kinds of training. The basic one that you put out there is the one that I'm using. I don't have the time to learn anything like beyond this.
You don't need to.
So I've taken that. But not just that, like the group that you've created is like, there's some, I don't know why you guys think that I should be having this conversation. Cause like there's some awesome people in our group that are spitting out more information than I could really handle. They're saying, hey, this is working for me. Try this. There's a few Stephen Roberts out there. He's like, look, join my group, follow my page, steal anything you want from me.
Right.
And like he's offering up his tactics that are working for him without like, oh no, this is mine. He's not like withholding it from it. Like he totally put it out there for me. And so I was like, okay, so I just swiped some of that info, took it, put a spin on it, made it mine, and it's working. But like I said, that's what I'm trying to surround myself, people that are better at their craft than I am, so I can rise to that level. Yep, so you guys like have created this open forum of people who want to help. And then, you know, I've had LOs in our group reach out to me to saying like, hey, how are you making this happen? What are you doing? What's making work? And I'm more than willing to share my info with them. And if it works for them, great. And if it doesn't, tweak it, try it again. And if it totally falls flat, move on to the next idea because there's a better idea out there.
Awesome. So we're going to wrap it up here. We have 3 minutes left. So first and foremost, we've done a lot of talk about Leads Academy. That's because that's where we are all together. But you know, being part of MLO Net, this is not an advertisement for Leads Academy. But learn from what Ashley did. She took something, she created her unique selling proposition. She found a hot piece of the market, which is technology, which is lead generation. She got good at it. She surrounded herself by good, strong LOs, not us, not well, depending on where you're on the screen, not me and Fish, but other good people in MLO Net. And then she challenged herself to go out there and build that business, and she did it quickly. So whatever that is, I mean, it could be.
She built a team around her to handle the business. I mean, that's critical too.
Yep. So like I said, find that thing that is your niche, that is your USP. It could be military mortgage boot camp. You could be the VA expert. You could be the lead person. You could be the, I don't know what the renovation person. You know, something that you can leverage to build that brand where people are coming to you, and then structure your day, build a team, and perfect action, bust your ass, work hard. Fish. Wrap it up.
That's it. I appreciate you guys. If you want to hear about any of the stuff we talked about today, reach out to myself, TJ, or Ashley. We want you guys all to win. Come see Jay and I in Metro Detroit in September if you want more boot camp training. TJ is always around to help. We appreciate you guys kicking back to the industry. Peace out. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.